Welcome back, friends and frenemies, to Demystifying Horror with the besties.
In this episode, we will be discussing monsters and their place in history and society.
Cheers.
What you drinking?
What I'm choking on presently is a pumpkin cream cold brew from the local Starbucks.
And I have water.
Hydrate or dihydrate. All right, so I'm kind of excited.
Yes.
For this monster discussion.
And I believe you want to start us off with a quote where our first section will be, what is a monster?
Yes, so from our lovely text here, a very short introduction on horror by Dale Jones. At the end of the introduction, whatever you want to call it, he ushered us into the monsters topic with this quote. Soapbox, please. No. He says that it falls upon each generation then to create its own monsters, or at least its own unique iterations of monstrosity. We invest in monsters our own anxieties, but also sometimes our own desires, inarticulable and respectable social discourse. Monsters body forth our dreams and our nightmares, and they are the subject of this discussion.
Dun, dun, dun! Yeah, so they are ever evolving.
They are indeed.
So first, while we're on the topic of what is a monster, I really liked a couple of the definitions here. Mm-hmm. I liked it talking about it being a spectacle. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, there are a few different versions, and one of the original ones was like a deformity, some kind of like extreme deformity.
Yes.
And then they're a spectacle, they're an omen, they're a warning, they're punishment. Mm-hmm. They are all of those things wrapped up in one. There are fears, there are desires. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely something that like you said, so the deformities or the distinctly other,
yes,
which we'll get into a bit later. But yeah, those things that don't fit, mm-hmm, they stand out, they don't make sense here, they don't belong here. And so something about that in the way our minds have decided to work, that sets them apart and that makes them wrong or bad. And then we label them monstrous and just make the problem even worse.
In some cases, definitely, yeah. Yeah. I really liked this quote too. I want to mention this one. We are fascinated by monsters, literally can't take our eyes off them because fear originates in the mammalian defensive system, which means we pay particular attention to threats. So I really like, it's like the car crash you can't look away from, yes, things like that.
Yeah, that just draws your eye to it, and you know you don't want to be staring at this, and you know it makes you uncomfortable, and it's not a good thing, and you still can't look away from it.
Yeah, you're scared, but you can't stop.
It just grips you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Two more things for the what is a monster category. I liked that it mentioned both the combination of individualistic fears but also societal fears.
Oh yeah,
that's going to come into play when we get into when we get into this a bit more. Mm-hmm. Because there are a lot of society fears that really come out to play with these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's very much, like we said, embodying that which is in ourselves and then that which we share with each other. Mm-hmm. And what was the word? Personification, I guess. Yeah. Of our fears and our desires and just those deep rooted things that you don't necessarily like act on, or
there's symbols
that aren't very, very symbolic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I guess we can start getting into the historical ones.
Yeah.
So the first historical section talked a lot about creatures being either like, it specifically mentions combinations of like two different animals, but also big ones, like also just big animals, I think, in a lot of the historical context. And it talked a lot about it being like, they're not necessarily like, they're not at your home. They're always elsewhere. It's that inhuman other. You're personifying a different culture in something that one of your people has to go defeat. And so that was a really interesting discussion. And it talked about like chimeras, basilisks, things like that. So different combinations of animals. Yeah. and it had a lot of roots in racisms, and Eurocentrism was also a big one.
Yeah, a lot of just seeing the other as less than, rather than just recognizing that there are differences.
Yeah, which I think we still have, like, you still see that sometimes, for sure. And then I think a lot of that desire for othering has gone into, like, they've made it a little bit more fantastical. So you'll still see it in, like, fantasy books. You'll still see, like, oh, this country has this, but so it's still there sometimes.
Yeah.
And then in sci-fi and things like that, you'll see it as, like, a space alien. They are the inhuman other that we're fighting against.
Yeah. Yeah. So in these instances, the monstrous has been that which is outside and away from us. But there are instances when it comes to visit. It comes to your doorstep. And in those instances, it's seen more as a punishment or a warning. It's a bad omen across the board, for sure. And whether it's for something you've done or that will happen, clearly. What are some of your thoughts on this? I think
that kind of goes into what we were talking about last week with control. That's a good example of like, if you are being punished for something, that is definitely in the control, because you're trying to, the author is trying to put their morals, what they want you to do onto the reader. So that's like a form of, like the classic ones I can think of are, like, what's his name? The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay. So, like, him being deformed is like a punishment on his mom.
Yeah. Yes. Ooh.
You go. Pop off.
No, it was an interesting, like, connection that, like, when I was reading that my brain made in just, like, in a biblical setting. It was that same situation of if someone, you know, wanted healing, it's like, well, what did they do? It, like, tangent that, like, in the Gospels, that it was like someone would come with healing, and the just for Jesus to have said, I forgive you of your sins, it's like, wait, what? Like, it's not just a physical, like, situation, it's because of something you did or something your parents did that was the outcome. And so to address that, the wrongdoing, was, that's, like, my mind made that connection in reading this, that it was about something someone did, and that this was a punishment for it.
I was thinking of some biblical examples too, like when they have to put the, like, blood of the lamb on the door, otherwise they're going to get visited. They have to give that little that sacrifice, or they're going to have the consequences. So those are all definitely, and even outside of Christianity, you'll see forms of control with this. But this was good because, like, last week it was so hard for us to think of examples of control. Yeah. And then this kind of tied it. It doesn't mention it. Okay, so that's just a connection we're making. But it's nice to have examples because of that.
For sure. Look at us.
And then also in historical settings, we've got cannibalism.
Oh gosh, when
you're a little too excited about
cannibals. I don't know why I'm excited about this. Okay. I don't know why. No, actually, because in it eventually mentioned Hannibal Lecter. No, the Silence of the Lambs is, like, one of my favorite movies. So I was like, buddy, not buddy. Anyway,
friendo pal.
What murder? Anyway, that so this starts to tie into seeing those, like, other human civilizations as other, or deeming them monsters, and regardless of whether there was actual historical evidence of other human civilizations being cannibals,
they just make shit up.
It got put on them. Yeah. So I'm like, I was reading this and I was like, I don't actually know if any of like this, you know, this history that we have in our minds of, like, the explorers coming across cannibalistic tribes in the jungles. Yeah. I'm like, now I don't actually know if any of it was right, or if it's all just, like, made into something more than it was, particularly if it was based on something you don't understand. Yeah. And so then your brain has to rationalize it somehow. And it's like, this is what we landed on. This is where we got. But
also, like, propaganda. And
that too, yes.
And convincing people that invading other countries is worth it because they're
monsters. Yeah. So there was a whole lot that went into creating some of these monstrosities and proliferating them.
And speaking of the cannibals, I really liked and then this was like slightly before the cannibal section, but he was talking about how historically we have the cannibals, and also we just like are really fascinated by like us being consumed for some reason.
Yes, consumption. It was like just particularly obsessed with monsters that consume us, whether that's drinking our blood or eating our flesh or our brains. Like, how did we get here? Like, why are we so, or even I'm thinking of like the Cyclops in the Iliad, that he would eat the people, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of that right now.
I haven't read the Iliad, but
it's been a while.
I saw Hercules and there was Cyclops.
There we go. Yeah, the giants. Like, why? I think it gets into it a bit here of just like that view of like humanity as just something to be consumed or something that is less than. It's like, why did we create these monsters that would be more than, and we're the victims?
I'm guessing it's something to do, because he doesn't super go into it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's something to do with us. It's one, a fear, so it's exploring that fear.
That's fair.
And then two, it's something, not aspiration isn't the right word. It's more like something for us to conquer, because we're like at the top of the food chain, and nothing can conquer us. So it's something to.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. Challenge accepted. Challenge created. Yeah, that's a good point. Is that we're always kind of searching for the next big thing.
Yeah.
Or it's like always wanting more. So we created these monsters that give us something to fight.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's my guess.
I mean, it's a option. It's a guess. Like, the human brain is multifaceted. That's one of them for sure. I take it. I'll accept it.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was a point, just like about on the cannibal stuff, that it's a barbaric action that just labeling other cultures and other societies as barbaric as that's just another label for deeming people as less than.
Yep.
Even if it's just a different way of life, or a different but yeah, just a way of putting people down to conquer them.
Yeah. Colonialism.
Woo.
Yay!
Yeah. And then we haven't gotten so much into taboo yet.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
All of that is part of the taboo. And
Oh, he mentions a Cyclops. I was right. Huh.
Oh, yeah. It does.
Like, nice.
Yeah, I didn't have much on taboo. Just taboo is even before religion. Just things that are just like ingrained.
Intrinsic, yeah. About like, that's a no-no.
Eating people is wrong.
Don't do it.
Maybe don't do it.
Yeah. But it's interesting, like, the twist that taboo has. Because, like, murder is bad, but cannibalism is worse. Is like kind of like taboo is like a step further beyond, like, that's just plain wrong. It's like that's actually like twisted and wrong.
Actually, I wasn't even planning on this being brought up for this section. So this is how to read literature like a professor, and you just sparked a memory of before the vampires chapter. Actually, which I had you read. There's a nice to eat with you. So I think is what it's called.
Oh, so that's why the vampire chapter started the way it did.
Nice to eat you. Or maybe it's right after that. Either way, there's a chapter on eating and how eating is so ingrained. Like, it's such a social thing. So you've got double layers there. So you've got murder, plus you've got eating.
Yes.
And like eating with people is such a...
It's like sacred.
It's so sacred.
Sharing a meal. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why, like, so many times in literature and stories, when something happens during a meal, it's like even worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always even worse.
It's like, this would have been okay on the battlefield, but you brought it to dinner, and that's a problem.
That's a sacred, this should always be safe place. So
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. Isn't it? Megan, you need to also read this book.
I do. Yeah.
And you guys too. This is probably my favorite, like, reading, understanding literature book. This is phenomenal. I haven't read too many, so like don't take that with a grain of salt, but this is very good. But yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, so maybe that's some of where this like that kind of ties back to like this fascination with like monsters that consume us, is that because that's such a sacred act almost, is that that twist on it and making it wrong is kind of where some of the stuff stems from.
Let me see if I can find some kind of powerful quote. Page 7. So they're short.
The one right before it.
Yeah, it is right before it, but I missed it because it's so short.
Acts of communion.
Yeah, whenever you eat or drink together, it's communion. So it's like super sacred.
Yeah, it's like a religious or even spiritual.
The act of taking food into our bodies is so personal. We only want to do it with people we're comfortable with. Generally, eating with another person is a way of saying, I'm with you, I like you, we are community.
This reminds me of something from Project Hail Mary.
Oh.
Right? There's yeah. It's like it was even in that setting, there was a situation of like, it's sacred.
Yep.
Yes. That's crazy.
Oh. Yeah, so cannibalism. See, we together unpacked what makes cannibalism so weird.
Yeah. High five! Awesome. Cool. Well, that's a wrap. We've done enough for today. We're good.
No, because vampires are next.
Yeah. Like we didn't even get into the rest of the chapter. All right, Tabatha, let's talk about your favorite monsters.
Vampires! Yes, I was so excited because I didn't realize that they were going to be in this chapter. I mean, it makes sense, but
yeah,
I didn't realize. Okay, and so we got to it, and I was like, yes,
let's go. Yeah, especially because he really only deep dives into 2 monsters in this chapter: vampires and zombies. So we got lucky.
Yes. Vampires, I definitely knew more of this. Some of it was definitely new and really interesting. But like I liked the concept of it being understanding the process of death. And one specific term that I loved was, I don't even have to turn back to it because I love it so much, was dark romanticism. And I'm like, that right there, that's the one. That's the one. That is the one.
Yes.
If I have a favorite genre, it's that.
Yep.
So, yes, loved that. And it's talking about vampires. Vampires are such a mix. So I had Sharilyn also read this because this also has a chapter of vampires. Not her read the whole thing, just the chapter on vampires.
She made me read an entire book.
For one chapter. But
she's made me read more than one book, guys.
True that. But I really like how both of these discuss vampires in like a little bit of a different way.
Yeah, this one gave us more of a historical context on like kind of where the vampires originated and kind of where they've gone through the centuries. Whereas How to Read
Literature Like a Professor,
that's the one, talked more about the thematic symbolism, symbolic elements of vampires. So
they started almost the way they started in here were almost like more zombie feeling.
Yeah, actually, because it was it around plague time?
Yeah.
When cemeteries were just overcrowded and bodies just kind of like
were rising up from
to
like
the surface.
Water.
Yes.
And they had to be staked into the ground. That was new.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was like, oh! Just like that. Yeah, that's exactly the reaction Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's where that came from. But yeah, that it was just, there were so many dead bodies piling up, literally. And just weird shit was happening because no one really understood what the human body does in death. And when you don't have words for something, it's very easy to move over into like the spiritual supernatural other side and say it like, it's like, I don't have an explanation for this, so it must be something greater. Yes. And then vampires at that time weren't the like romantic ones we see these days.
The swoony. Anyway.
Or those. They weren't the like rich, elegant,
aristocratic.
Yeah, they were the poor. They were the peasants. They were way more something to be afraid of. And they're still something to be afraid of for the most part.
But yeah, they weren't romanticized at all yet.
No, they weren't something to aspire to by any means.
Frequently, it was, interestingly, like Eastern European small villages, and it would be maybe someone coming back from the dead to inflict like their maladies on the family or the village, but it was always very contained, and it was never you know, a vampire spreading his influence across the vast reaches. It was just it was very localized and personal.
And it talks about how it wasn't until Vampire by Dr. John Polidori that it started to turn into what we think of as the modern vampire. And I actually read it because they mentioned it in here, and I was like, all right, Googling it. I literally set this book down and Googled that book, and I was like, okay, oh, it's a short story. Sweet. And read that. And yes, absolutely. It is the modern vampire. It is someone who comes in. He's a lord. He's very elegant. He's the like prime bachelor that everybody wants to be with. And he also like turns his nose at people. I was telling Sharilyn in our weekly chronicle that he reminded me a bit of Darcy in that sense from Pride and Prejudice, just because he was like above it all.
Yeah, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, yeah. And then he eventually makes a friend who is just this like gullible dude, and that's why he reminds me of Bingley. Okay,
I see it. I see
the connections?
Yep, there we are. Yes.
And
cat and the dog personalities.
Yes, exactly. And he's still something to be afraid of. He's still aloof. He's still like very inhuman, but he has that elegance, and it's a really interesting read. It's only like 30 so pages, so definitely recommend it if you want to read the first vampire story in what we think of as the modern vampire. But yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, so it was that get together with Lord Byron at Lake Geneva in 1816, where that came out. Frankenstein came from that, and it really kind of propelled the romantic writers into this era of the romanticized monster.
Dark romanticism,
which yes is our fascination with that supernatural, that other, and making it alluring and like sensual.
Yeah, sensual.
Yep.
I think that's about to be my next spiral, by the way.
I can see that.
If we're prepared for me to go down a spiral, I went down a cosmic horror spiral earlier. I think I'm about to go into a dark romanticism spiral.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of what they mentioned here. I was like, I need to read that.
Yep. Yeah. I've read Carmilla. They talk about Carmilla and how influential that one was.
Yeah.
We've got, that really amps up the sexuality in that one. We've got
Dracula, of course. Have you read it yet?
I haven't read I have literally 3 copies of Dracula.
Cool, so I can borrow one of them.
You can definitely borrow one of them, and then we can buddy read it. Yeah, I need to read that one really badly, especially since how it was talked about in here. Everyone knows that it's influential, but like hearing it again, it's just like,
yeah, and of course Frankenstein. But yeah, oh gosh, there's so many. But yeah,
the notorious vampire Frankenstein.
Yes.
No. She's just going off on our TBR now.
Oh my gosh, no! I was referring to the romantics, the writers,
the dark
romanticism. Yes, and that just it's that mix between like the supernatural, alluring other, and just ya basic bitch.
Ya basic bitch. And they're gothic. They're like dripping with atmosphere. Those kind of things.
Yes,
delicious. And then another historical turn that we take with vampires is with Anne Rice, where we get a little bit more into the romantic sphere, less in the historical context of romanticism, but more into the even more amping up the sexualization with vampires. And it just goes from there. We've got Twilight. Twilight made a huge, as much as people hate on Twilight, it made a huge difference.
Yes. It like
it really amped up the romantic part of vampires, and it made them into something even more to aspire to, which is kind of an interesting place to be at.
Yeah, definitely, like, I was reading this, I was thinking about, like, when I read Twilight as a teenage girl, and I was like, wow, how cool would it be to, like, have these attributes, this, like, this speed, this strength, yeah, especially just, like, humans, like, we're going to aspire to be greater than ourselves, and so the continued evolution of turning these monsters into something that, like kind of melding them back with humanity and giving them kind of those aspects of, like, oh, he's fighting against the bloodlust, like, kind of making them human again, and then, like, and kind of, like, putting together, like, picking and choosing the aspects that we want into, you know, build your own monster, here you go. But
tie that in with sexual repression. There you go.
That too. That was also a part of that story.
And then something to kind of that I love that this discusses is that vampires aren't always just straight up vampires. The main things you have to have for it to be a vampire is someone in power taking advantage of someone not in power, and it still has the necessary elements for what is a vampire. So I find that really, really fascinating, because every vampire book I've read has that, at least in some sense. Even if they're romanticized, they still have that dynamic. And then they can go even more into the, typically, like, it'll be the experienced, worldly, older, eternal vampire who is, like, has an inhuman amount of, like, abilities and
wealth and knowledge
beauty,
and, like, amassed fortunes and things.
all of that stuff, paired with the, like, young, virginal, typically, woman, or men in some cases. And it is also sometimes, like, a bit of sexual exploration, and how a bit. Her eyes have been opened with, what's the book?
Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff.
But yeah, it's got, like, the exploring different, as you mentioned at the beginning, exploring different generations' morals and combating them. And this is one way to do that sometimes. Sometimes it can be, like, fighting sexual repression, so it can be more sexually freeing, or it can be more repressive, like Twilight.
Where this chapter ended was where my mind was getting onto, and you kind of already were talking about it, but just that exploitation of other people and of each other, that it's about this power dynamic, and about taking advantage of, and it's a strange concept to want to explore. Like, we as people do want power and do want to claw our way up the top. I keep doing this. But yeah, it's a constant struggle. Of which one do you give into, of whether it's that using and abusing power, or just being human and recognizing it's like, no, people aren't objects to be used. They're objects to be. They're not objects at all. They
have their own ends.
Yes. No. What?
They're not a means to their end. They're not just a means to your end.
Yeah, it's like
they have their own ends.
They're not objects. They are, in fact, other human beings who have their own shit going on, and we're not all out here just to be used by each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that view on exploitation is kind of like the I guess maybe the ultimate symbolism of where vampires kind of stem from.
Yeah. I like that. And then I also think that ties in really well with the quote that mentions, we are simultaneously irresistibly drawn to them, we can't take our eyes off them, and revolted by them, they disgust us.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
So, good. Okay.
Great. Cool. Good.
Now,
okay.
I feel satisfied with vampires. What about you?
Satisfied? I'm sorry, Mom. Anyway, so moving on then?
To zombies! which neither one of us historically love.
No, I've never been a zombie fan.
Neither have I.
Yeah. So we're just gonna throw that out the window.
No, bye zombie. No. This actually, I learned a lot, and I have more of an appreciation now.
Yeah, we got a lot of historical context on this one too. It was like, I had no idea.
Yeah, my first zombie experience was my cousin watching like B-grade zombie movies, and I just remember like a lawnmower in particular, like, just like running over zombie bodies, and I was like, bro, like I'm gonna go do something else. I don't know.
This ain't for me. I'm not about it. Yeah, that's fair.
So this was super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely some of where zombies originate from, which I genuinely had no idea. Actually, it has roots in voodoo. One of the first times zombies really appeared in pop culture was as a symbolism for slavery, and that it's just this using of people and like just viewing them as like these mindless zombies. Just part of a horde, I guess, like just kind of like push them, go on their way, like they just like it's
they are the monstrous other.
Yes, it's very much another example of that, using and abusing people, but this time the monster is beneath us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
where vampires were like
above,
lifted up. Yeah, zombies are kind of like are put down.
And then I thought it was really fascinating what that they originated with like a sorcerer would have control over them entirely, so they would be under someone's control rather than just
milling about eating brains.
Yeah,
that came later.
Yeah, the brain, all of the brains and stuff came way later, which was really fascinating to me. Yeah, because that's the zombies that I knew about.
Yeah, it was a lot more of them just like being
used.
Yeah, but I'm the word lemming isn't the right word I'm thinking of, but just this or puppets. Oh, there's a word.
Puppets is a good word.
Yeah, but yeah, just that controlling. The original zombies actually had a controller behind them. So like we have the zombie in modern horror, but then just like vampires represent a theme, zombies have represented a theme, and so that theme gets to,
change over time.
Exactly. Yes.
Evolve.
Words are hard, guys. Had to get it in there. That's what she said. Anyway. Fuck me, dude.
That's also what she said.
I'm out. That's it.
That's what he said.
Can't take us anywhere. Okay, so. Okay.
I don't have a lot of highlighted in this section.
I really don't have a whole lot to say on zombies. But it is interesting to note that from that original historical zombie, things took a turn with the film The Night of the Living Dead from 1968, and then also the follow-up Dawn of the Dead. That those movies with zombies were really where the modern idea stems from with these.
Yeah, and there's in the modern ones, there's more themes of consumerism. That's the one I knew. I knew that one.
Yeah.
I got one check. One singular check in the zombies category. Knows that one.
Yeah, that checks out.
But then it doesn't mention it, but I know it's also got a lot of times in modern movies got discussions on control, in the sense of not the previously mentioned control, but like more, I guess, confronting the control of like government and things like that, because there'll be like a plague or pandemic that happens that causes this zombie event, and then you watch as the government has no idea how to handle it. So it'll also be conversations on that.
That kind of goes back to like when the monster comes to your doorstep as a punishment or an omen. Look at us. Yeah, that it's seen because, like you said, in the confronting.
Because it's confronting the lack of having a stable government that can handle taking care of people in those kind of situations and handle good quarantines. And then usually you'll see a person get punished for going against the order. Like they'll be in their safe spot, and then they'll be like, I just need to do this one thing. And then they get punished for it. And then not only do they get punished, but their people sometimes get punished, because then that person will come back and have that also happen to them. Oh.
Yeah, definitely in that, that's interesting. I wonder if it's like that, the vampires and the zombies, that he chose to expound on in this chapter, after making that point of the types of monsters and the like internal versus the external, fears and desires that these were actually two really good monsters to kind of talk about the two sides of monstrosity. How about that?
How about that? The Oxford guy knows what he's doing.
He knows, what he's about or something. Crazy.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let us know your favorite monster movie, book, whatever.
Or monster in general, because there are a lot that we didn't get to talk about. But I also don't really have anything to say on them other than like knowing they exist, but like a variety of cryptids that are like really cool to look into. Chupacabra and Bigfoot and Mothman and those things. Like those are also some of our current monsters that are, and I don't know that we'll get into them later.
I don't know if there's like a folklore section, because that's what those
you
would think that they would be.
They might come next in the occult and the supernatural. But we don't know. But yeah, just what comes to mind when you think of monsters? What are some of your monsters or monstrous themes that you like to look for or see in pop culture?
Sweet.
Cool.
And then if you're not feeling chatty, leave us
vampire and vampires. Leave us a monstrous emoji.
Or a vampire.
Or a monster.
Any kind of anyone that you see.
Yes. I will be using vampires a lot this season.
It's true. That's fair.
So,
fair.
Some kind of monster emoji.
Yeah. Oh, didn't we just use that in our weekly chronicle? The vampire?
Yes, we did, actually. This week is all about vampires. And it will stay that way for like months.
Oh, that's a beautiful world to be in.
Yeah, see? Best timeline.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, besties.